Breaking news. A Navy submarine hit a Russian nuclear attack submarine, and the captain announced it. Submarine crews from the United States and Russia came very close to a direct collision on a chilly night in February 1992. If two nuclear-powered submarines, which together displace more than 15,000 tons, collide below the surface, the situation can quickly become terrifying. Navy ship, Baton Rouge. The USS Baton Rouge was a fast attack submarine of the Los Angeles class. She was only the class's second submarine when she was commissioned in June of 1977. Her service was typical for a submarine of her era. She completed several circumnavigations of the globe and several Mediterranean deployments. There was a major change in the deployment's outcome. As part of Operation Holy Stone, also called Operation Pinnacle, and Bollard, by submarine crews, Baton Rouge was performing its duties. The U.S. Navy's mission to spy on major Soviet submarine bases was an ongoing operation throughout the Cold War. Tapping submarine cables to eavesdrop on Soviet communications was one of the more audacious parts of the mission. The United States maintained a strong interest in the nuclear submarines stationed in Severomorsk and other ports in what is now the Russian Federation, despite the end of the Cold War. That's why in February of that year, the Baton Rouge was stationed in the Barents Sea as part of the ongoing Holy Stone activities conducted by U.S. submarines. Spaceship B-276 Kostroma. The Russian submarine was a fast attack submarine from the Sierra class, designated B-276 Kostroma. The Sierras were capable ships that were designed and built after their Los Angeles class counterparts. Only 4 were ever commissioned before the Soviet Union collapsed, making them extremely valuable to the Russian Navy. During the crash, the incident occurred on February 11 at 8 p.m., about 12 miles from the Russian coast. The United States insisted it happened in international waters, but the Russian government insisted it happened within Russian territorial waters because they measure their coastline along a straight baseline. The American boat's sail appears to have been damaged when the Russian submarine surfaced underneath it. The ballast tank on the Baton Rouge was punctured and sheared off. Thanks to good fortune, no one on either submarine was hurt, but the crew of the Baton Rouge must have been on edge because of the vulnerability of its single hull design to punctures and flooding. After the collision, many questions were raised. Russian sources claimed the two subs were engaged in a cat and mouse game of tracking each other without being detected, while the United States Navy claimed the Baton Rouge was intercepting wireless communications. Whatever the case may be, the Russian government was not pleased and made its displeasure known to the United States. The presence of an American submarine so close to one of Russia's major bases was seen as evidence that the United States was continuing its aggressive Cold War policies. Shortly after the incident, U.S. Secretary of State James Baker met with Russian President Boris Yeltsin to try to repair ties. U.S. Navy Holy Stone activities were curtailed somewhat as a result of the collision, but it took a repeat of the same thing just over a year later to significantly reduce the size and frequency of missions to Russian submarine bases.